Welcome to PACTV Community News, a show filled with local stories from the South Shore. This week we'll take you to an all-state music festival from Pembroke, a fashion show for prom dresses at Plymouth South High School, and a very unique fundraising karaoke event.
We visit with the Kingston Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Group to learn how to handle emergencies for our towns. And we stop into Envision Duxbury to see how this town's plans are forming for the years ahead.
We meet some of the awardees at the South Shore Community Action Council Local Hero Ceremony, and we get a peek at League of Women Voters Civics B event.
PCN stops into a Plymouth 400 community event to learn how volunteers can get involved with this 2020 commemoration. And Town Talk brings Pembroke's interim town manager to the set. It's going to be a great show, and we begin in Pembroke. Last month, 3 Pembroke High School students performed at the All-State Music Festival. These students auditioned and were selected for the chance to perform and learn with the best of their peers in the state. PCN stopped into the high school the following week to get their story.
I'm not a stranger to the dawn.
I've definitely felt more prepared the second time, just because I knew what I was getting into. It was less scary knowing that I was there again, I was worth it.
She's talking about her second audition for the All-State Music Festival. Last year, Sydney Alfano came just a half point shy of being selected to go. Last month, she and 2 other students from Pembroke High School got the opportunity to perform with the best of the best in the state.
Choir is a lot of fun. It's my favorite thing to do. I hope to do this in the future. I'm planning on majoring in music education.
Zach Reggio, a senior, and Catherine Marr, a sophomore, also auditioned and were selected for the All-State Festival because of their vocal talent.
We sang a Haitian Creole, was it, I believe? It was stressful. But in the end, the product was amazing just to see what we've done in 2 days. I think we put in 20 hours of singing.
It feels really good to get that All-State rec, and it feels really good to get into All-State. It's been such a rewarding experience, meeting a whole bunch of people and sharing music with them.
In addition to performing together, the students who go to the festival gain knowledge and experience they wouldn't otherwise receive.
She had a saying, "Growth is the willingness to relinquish all proficiencies," and it just struck me.
Our conductor was a female, which doesn't normally happen, especially in our neck of the woods. And so it was really cool hearing her perspective and seeing her do the things that I want to be doing when I'm older, because like Zach and Kat, I also want to be pursuing music and music education. Over the years, doing district and summer camps, etc., I've made so many friends, and then all of a sudden at All-State, all of those people were in the same place. So that was kind of cool.
The best part of the festival for Alfano was performing at Symphony Hall.
It's such a pretty hall, and it's the best one. And so that in itself was crazy. And then the band played, my favorite piece was in memory of a mass shooting that happened a few years ago in a church, and it was so emotional. Our conductor was crying at the end of the piece, and we were all singing halfway through it as part of the piece, and it was just so profound doing it there in Symphony Hall. So that was kind of a magical experience of it all coming together.
Reporting for PACTV Community News, I'm Walter Cicchetti.
The town of Duxbury has been working for several years on a master plan called Envision Duxbury. PCN stopped into one of their last community meetings to get an update, find out where residents can get more information.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Josh Fiala. I'm with the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, MAPC. Good to see some familiar faces this evening. And we're here to talk to you tonight about the Envision Duxbury process, which has been going on approaching 2 years now. So a good process which is coming now to conclusion. We're excited and happy to be here and talking to you about that. We're here for a forum, community forum for the Envision Duxbury process. It's a master planning process for the town of Duxbury, setting a roadmap for the future with concrete actions for the town to undertake over the next 10 years.
We're excited because this is the wrap-up, the last time we're going to do a broad outreach to the community as part of the comprehensive planning process. This is phase 2 of a 2-year project, and this is our 3rd or 4th forum with the community. We are going to go over all of the different aspects of the plan and look for input. We've drafted another 5 sections of the plan since we last had an outreach.
So we have recommendations for economic development and transportation, energy and sustainability and climate as well, and then also have land use and zoning recommendations and implementation actions around those topics.
When we started, we were just getting started with where are we now, what are the historic and cultural resources, what kinds of demographics do we have today compared to 20 years ago. Now we're at the point where we've drawn a vision statement, we've pulled together information about our utilities, our facilities, our land use, our zoning, our transportation, and other aspects of what land use patterns look like. So now we're bringing that together with looking at economic development questions and putting all of that on the table for everyone to see how everything blends together. And that's where we are. That's different from last time. We've got more information.
Yeah, so our team, we've come with a full staff complement from MAPC this evening. And so we have staff members from the Economic Development Department, the Transportation Department, the Clean Energy Department, and the Environmental Department, as well as the Land Use Department. And so we're all planners at the agency, bringing our own specialties and point of views, and have done a fair amount of analysis on the town, spoken to town community members, engaged with people at these types of meetings, and then using all of those inputs, basically have built our recommendations and are excited to get feedback from them, polish them up, and have the community help us make the best plan it can be.
We're thrilled to have MAPC helping us do this project, and the planning board has been the ones who've really pushed for this to get done, and I think they're taking a good leadership point by doing this.
And we'll also have information available on the project website, envisionduxbury.mapc.org.
The Municipal Vulnerability Program was brought forth by the Governor's Office for potential grant opportunities for municipalities who partake in the workshop. The program discussed the strengths and weaknesses of the physical layout of the infrastructure of Kingston as related to natural disasters, which are increasing in frequency and severity. PCN stopped by to check out the meeting.
Today's workshop was focused on primarily climate change and how climate change could affect the residents of Kingston, public safety, and other departments that would affect the citizens here in town.
We talked a lot about stormwater drainage. So there's certain parts of the area that are on the water line where the tides are rising, or if there's a storm, there's an influx of water that gets onto the land, and cleaning out what we have in place in order for that water to get back where it belongs instead of ending up on the street and causing a hazard.
We talked about whether it was storms, tidal surges, wind issues, and how that affects basically the police department, fire departments, ability to respond to emergencies, how downed trees can affect response routes, how flooded roads affects our ability to respond, how power outages could affect the elderly and our vulnerable population. So we're just looking, at how a global issue affects the people, in a small community.
For me, I come from more of a community kind of vibe. So to me, I hope everybody in the group understood that we're all out there looking out for each other. On a larger scale, like as a select person, I would be focused on the community at large and letting them know that we are thinking of these things and we do want to get them fixed.
I would think that what the community needs to do is listen to their public safety officials, town leaders, and if somebody asks you to evacuate an area because of a potential storm, whether it's tidal surge, high winds, that you'll listen. We can't put officers or firefighters or EMS people into areas that aren't safe. So, people just got to be able to listen and, a lot of times make decisions too to help themselves, whether it's to come up with a personal emergency response kit in their home, whether or not, if they're on well water, you fill your bathtub with water, make sure you have lighting, adequate food, things like that. A lot of stuff you got to, start planning at home.
People can get involved by joining committees that are already existing. We have a lot of open opportunities on many of the communities in town. For this specific project, after it wraps up, there will be public workshops and informational sessions.
Becca's Closet is a national nonprofit organization that donates formal dresses to high school girls who cannot afford to purchase them. The organization's only Massachusetts chapter is located at Plymouth South High School, where students have collected dozens of prom gowns. PCN dropped by the chapter's fashion show, which showcased the dresses donated by the community.
So we are in Plymouth South High School's Becca's Closet, and we are holding a fashion show to broadcast the dresses that we have for the girls who can't afford to buy them for prom. Becca's Closet is basically used prom dresses and homecoming dresses that can be donated if they fit our requirements. For girls who can't afford dresses or other types of things like shoes, so that they can wear them to a prom or special occasion and still feel pretty.
Becca's Closet started when a young girl was 16 years old named Rebecca in her high school noticed that a lot of girls didn't have money to afford prom dresses. According to the newest prices for prom dresses, they range from $300 to $500. And she noticed that a lot of girls needed dresses, so she started a drive throughout her high school to just gather a bunch of dresses that people donated to bring in to give to people to wear to prom and to keep them after or donate them back if they would like to. Rebecca was a very caring young girl, and she was very well known throughout her high school. She suddenly died in a car accident, and her parents really wanted to keep the tradition going of her doing Becca's Closet. So after the years, Plymouth South High School has engaged in that, and we took on Becca's Closet as her family still runs it, and they're still a part of it.
I benefit from Becca's Closet because I learn all about how taking in new products work, and also getting to see girls in the community who might not have a chance to feel like a princess at special events get to see them light up when they find that dress that they love.
We have so many dresses, like so many lengths, different colors, different styles. They can go from very formal and very like tight fitting, or they can go like really big, like kind of like wedding dresses, kind of like. Throughout my high school and middle school career, like I've heard about Becca's Closet, and I've heard about all the stories that she's done to help like young women get dresses and everything, and I really just wanted to be a part of it because it sounded like a really nice and like a really sweet thing to do, because I understand how expensive they can be and how families don't have enough money to do that, so people miss out on prom and formals and all kinds of different like dances, and I just love being a part of it.
South Shore Community Action Council held their Local Heroes Award Night for those in the community who are looking to and do make a difference. These awards are given out to recognize those who are helping out the less fortunate. We spoke with some of the recipients to see how they give back and what it means to them.
Tonight's event is our 25th annual Local Heroes Awards Night and Auction. Every year, South Shore Community Action Council shines a light on the extraordinary people in our communities who are going to great lengths to help their disadvantaged neighbors in their communities. So we have a great group of folks that we are awarding tonight and recognizing for their efforts, including a fine group of folks from the town of Norwell, from a nonprofit called A Simple Gesture. And they're a beautiful example of what community action is all about.
We were notified a few weeks ago that we are being given a Local Heroes Award for our community work with A Simple Gesture. Simple Gesture is a food sharing program which was initiated in California, and we learned about it and set up this food sharing program in Norwell. It basically runs by having drivers come to people's homes 6 times a year to pick up cool green bags with their donations for the food. The drivers then take the cool green bags to the food pantry, and they will leave the donors a replacement bag. And at the food pantry, there are 25, 30 volunteers there to help check expiration dates and sort the food for the food pantry for the next 2 months.
Each year, the local heroes are nominated by residents of the South Shore. We go through a process, and our steering committee reviews the nominees and comes up with a final decision about the slate of the awardees each year. And so we really do look for folks who are making a grassroots, community-based effort to make a difference in the fight against poverty and hunger on the South Shore.
How does it feel to receive this award? It feels great, but I'm really humbled by it because it's really the volunteers, it's the donors, it's just the concept that is the really cool thing. You know, as the people kind of behind the scenes, it's actually kind of fun, and so to be awarded for it is really awesome. But you know, one thing that I will say is, one thing that we did was, because we struggled a little bit with the organization at the beginning, we kind of took the business plan of how does this work, and we codified it. We built it on our webpage and said, if you want to do this in your town, here's what it takes. And sure enough, about a year and a half, a year later, Hanover, our next town over, started their own simple gesture, and then Marshfield did. So it's begun to grow. And it's funny, on the way down, we were talking about how their website is way better than ours. And so our little children are exceeding us already, which is a wonderful thing for something like this.
We're so excited to have our guest speaker tonight is Bill Lee, the former Boston Red Sox legendary pitcher. Many know him as Spaceman Lee. He's going to talk with us not only about his great experiences as a pitcher for the Red Sox, but also his really strong belief and experiences in doing community action and engagement work in his own life in his retirement years. So we're really thrilled to have him, and he'll be a great addition to tonight's program.
This is important for everybody to rally and to honor the people that go above and beyond, you know, like what I did up in, I moved here, and everybody says you're a Californian, you're not going to stay, and I've been in Craftsbury, Vermont, and I ran for governor of the state of Vermont, and everybody in this building today thinks of their pockets are deep, their arms are deep, and they reach in and they give back to their community, and that's the things that I support.
If anybody out there is interested in becoming more involved in community action work or trying to make a difference in their communities, we absolutely encourage you to get in touch with us, and we'll help to get you on your way in whatever way we can, whether it's donating your time, donating resources, donating food, whatever you want to do, whatever drives you, there's a way to make it work in community action.
2020 is fast approaching, and many hands are needed to help with the events that are coming to Plymouth and the surrounding towns. Plymouth 400 holds regular community meetings to let people know about the events and volunteer opportunities. PCN stopped into a recent community meeting to learn more.
My name is Cheryl Soares, and I have been tasked with one of my jobs, volunteer coordination. It's actually something I'm very passionate about, and one of my favorite things that I do at Plymouth 400.
I think a great thing that Plymouth 400 does is we try to have monthly community and volunteer meetings. So you really get a picture of everything that's happening now, what's been done in the past, in 2020. And Michelle does that, and our executive director, Michelle Pecoraro. And then I talk about ways that people can get involved now, and we're going to need, I say, a small army of volunteers in 2020.
I'm here today because I was excited to see all of the new things that Plymouth 400 has been working on. I've been following all the news that's been picked up on Plymouth 400. You know, last week with the press conference in Boston, they were in the New York Times, they're in the Boston Globe, they're on NBC. People are really starting to look at what's going on here. So I wanted to come to today's community meeting and, you know, get a refresher on all things to come in 2020.
We can't do it without volunteers. We really can't. We're a small staff. We need people in the office. So there's administrative support, light office work, answering the phones, greeting people when they come in, and there are more and more people coming into our office, selling merchandise. We're always trying to raise awareness and get out the information about our signature events and all the things that we're doing. So we go to other people's events and we set up an information table, and we have a lot of people, a lot of volunteers who do that. We will train you with what you need to know for whatever task it is that you want to do. But really, this commemoration is for everyone, and we need our volunteers.
When I'm with the group or at an event volunteering, the feeling among us volunteers is terrific. We're all there because we want to be there. We support each other 100%. We're never, you know, alone. There's always a group of us, and we're there because we enjoy being with the public too. And if there's something one of us doesn't know or needs a little help with, or maybe remembers a bit of information someone else doesn't, we support each other, we have a good time, and we get to participate in the events.
One of my favorite things is I've seen some real friendships forming. There's a camaraderie that happens among all the volunteers as we continue to do all of these events, and that's why it's great to start now and to build these relationships, because we're able to work together really well. And it helps me also know what your strengths are, what makes you happy. I don't want volunteers in a position that isn't comfortable for them.
So many more people are now recognizing how big of a deal this actually is. And now they're realizing, okay, it's time to jump on board, because a year from now, we're going to be in the thick of it. So, you know, it's time to get involved, time to put some time and energy into something that is really going to be leaving a massive legacy for generations to come.
If you are curious or interested in Plymouth 400, in the events coming up, I'd say definitely give it a shot, put your name on a list, join in one of the groups, and see what it's all about, because you'll definitely enjoy it.
If you want to learn more about volunteering for Plymouth 400, you can go to our website and you'll find out all the information there. We are so excited for 2020, and we really need your help, so please contact us.
On Sunday, March 10th, the Plymouth Area League of Women Voters held their 5th annual Civics Bee, a friendly competition for middle and high school students. The topic this year was How a Bill Becomes a Law, the legislative process. Lively groups of 4 students from 7 local high schools competed in 2 rounds of questions about this topic. The first round consisted of 7 teams answering a total of 40 questions. 3 finalists were chosen and had 15 questions to decide the final winner. Jennifer Harris, the Plymouth Library Director, served as the moderator. All 7 high schools, including Rising Tide, Plymouth South, Sacred Heart, Silver Lake, Duxbury, Carver, and Plymouth North, fielded very capable teams, and it was a very close competition. In the final round, Silver Lake, Duxbury, and Plymouth North all got 13 out of 14 correct answers, but Plymouth North finished first by answering the final question correctly. Participants this year, as every year, had a thoroughly enjoyable day. The Plymouth North team now holds the record of 4 victories over the past 5 years. This year's victorious team consisted of Nicholas Bodie, Aidan Campbell, Cole Gustin, and Mohammed Asif Imran. They were coached by David Clark, Amy Goldberg, and Jeremy Hales. Congratulations to them all.
Plymouth Task Force to End Homelessness held a local, star-studded event, Celebrity Karaoke, at the American Legion Hall last month. The event raised money to support the task force effort to eradicate homelessness in the Plymouth area. PCN was there to bring you the highlights from this talented event.
Tonight we have a fundraiser for the Plymouth Task Force to End Homelessness. It's karaoke, and we have Plymouth Town celebrities that are going to volunteer their time and their services to sing tonight, and then obviously fundraise for a great cause.
Julie, who works at Rockland Trust and is serving on our board, came up with this idea, and we all said, gee, that's a great idea. We don't know of anybody else that's doing this, so we're always looking for something different, and this fit the bill.
We came up with the idea because we wanted to minimize the cost of the event but maximize the participation and the fundraising.
Tonight's funds will go towards our mission of sheltering homeless individuals, which we do from the end of November to the end of March, to provide permanent supportive housing in conjunction with Father Bill's Mainspring, and number 3, to prevent homelessness from occurring in the first place.
I really want people to walk away with, you know, there's so much that we can do, and I think everything that we do not only serves the homeless men and women in the Plymouth area. So we started in 2005. We've served over 450 homeless men and women. We do overnight stays of hospitality. We do meals for the 12 weeks of the winter when it's cold outside. We have some social services and permanent housing that's available, and really it's just more recognition of what's going on and how much we can do to help. What we tried to do was, when we chose the celebrities, we tried to choose individuals that we thought would draw tickets from, you know, different opportunities within the town. So our town celebrity karaoke singers tonight are Amy Naples, the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce. She is doing a duet with David Gallerani, the president and owner of Cape Auto Body. Then we have Chief of Police, Mike Botteri, who's doing a duet with our state rep, Matt Moratori, which is very exciting. And then we have the president and owner of Tiny & Sons Glass, Peter Brown, and he's doing a duet with state rep Kathy Lenatra. The response has been phenomenal. Our singers are a little nervous, but the response has been phenomenal.
I hope that everybody goes away feeling happy and that they've done, that they've helped out a good cause.
I'm hoping that everyone leaves here happy, excited, feeling like they had a great time and were able to impact a great organization.
This is one of those things that you volunteered for 6 months ago and hope it never comes to life. Here we are tonight. There's an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tonic and gin. No breaks in my heart. I couldn't if I tried. Oh, honey, I get restless.
Like a good idea in the beginning, didn't it? All right.
We are pleased to welcome back to Town Talk Pembroke's interim town manager, Ed Thorne. Welcome back.
Hi, Jules. How's everything today?
Everything's great. We're in town meeting mode in every single town, but Pembroke's is coming up on Tuesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. at the high school.
That's right.
Now, every town tends to have one or two big things that happen at town meeting, or big items that bring out a lot of opinions on both sides. Aside from the regular articles that we're going to see, we're going to have a special town meeting that has 4 articles, which basically is just kind of
pretty much routine. Correct.
Routine that will go right through. And then we have a huge amount of articles that have to do with zoning bylaws. Articles 18 through 33, all are about zoning bylaws. Can you talk about why that's such a big item?
Well, the bulk of them, aside from the overlay district for the country club, are housekeeping articles that the planning board, along with town council, went through the the zoning bylaws, and they saw things like there were typos or grammatical errors and changes in a concept that the planning board wanted to take. So a lot of them were definitely housekeeping.
Okay. So there are not a lot of major things on this, except for, let's talk about the one that's going to be dealing with the Pembroke Country Club.
Correct.
Now, the facts are that the Pembroke Country Club has a purchase and sale agreement from a developer who wants to keep the golf course, but put in 155 plus houses.
Correct.
Okay, cluster housing.
Correct.
Okay. Now, the town of Pembroke, correct me if I'm wrong, has the first right of refusal to actually buy the country club.
Right, because the country club receives a special tax status for open space and recreation, and it's called 61B. It's a chapter in the tax code. So, so the town, because of that, because they're getting the tax break, they have the right of first refusal. There's a purchase and sale agreement, as you mentioned, with the developer. But the issue at town meeting is to allow this, excuse me, cluster development. The 100 or so units that will be pretty much not scattered around the country club, but put in probably clusters of three.
Three different locations, yep.
It'll maintain the 18-hole golf course. It'll maintain the clubhouse and the banquet hall. And they have an agreement with the developer that they would sell it for $4.3 million to the developer, and then the developer will hire the folks that are running the golf course right now and have it's a 3-year deal with 2 1-year extensions.
Okay. So what is the town if I'm hearing you right, the town has to decide, are we going to pony up the $4.3 million to buy that land, buy the country club? And then if so, what do we do with it? Correct?
Yeah, I mean,
or do we let this go through with the developer who wants to purchase it?
We're talking several different scenarios now. You're talking about if the bylaw passes to allow this cluster development, then does the town then step in and buy the land to prevent the cluster development?
Okay.
If the bylaw doesn't pass, then the owner has a choice, to sell the land off in its entirety and have maybe 100 or so homes on 40,000 square foot lots.
And that would basically get rid of the country club.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the town is still back there on the sidelines having the right to buy the property and to preserve the golf course.
Right.
So we got a lot of moving parts right now.
Right. Right.
And the town has until August the 1st
to make this decision. So we have to vote at this town meeting whether or not we're going to proceed forward with either.
Yeah, that's going to be a decision the selectmen are going to be making in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
I expect that we're going to probably have a couple of more special meetings.
Sure.
We're not scheduled to meet next week because of the holiday, but I expect that we will meet to go over the options that the town will have.
Now, if people want to just find out more information about this potential cluster housing, where can they find? Because this company has also done this in other communities, correct?
Yeah, they have a development in Weymouth called Weathervane.
Yep.
It's a little bit more dense than what they're proposing for
Pembroke.
the golf course. They have about 100 or so units, I think on 30 acres,
yeah.
and here they'll do it on 50.
Right. Yeah. Pembroke Country Club is a big footprint.
Almost 180 acres.
Yeah, it's huge. Okay, so that's one of the big things that's going on at our town meeting. Budget items are capital budget. There's no big surprises. There's no big roof that needs repairing. There's none of that stuff this year.
Well, what we've done now is we've revamped the way we're going to do financial business at town meeting. We now will have a special article strictly for the capital budget. This is based on a 5-year capital plan that we had put together. We're going to have the first of that 5 years available at town meeting, and that's one of the first articles.
Yeah.
And that'll probably about $600,000.
Right. So there's nothing massive.
Well, it'll be the usual.
Yeah.
There'll be some work done at some buildings. There'll be some trucks and police vehicles purchased.
Okay. Now the community center, which is also another big major area of discussion and planning for the town, has been taken off. The article about the community center has been taken off.
That was another
this time.
zoning article that would have allowed mixed-use development on a 30-acre parcel that the town owns in the center of town.
Yep.
And
are we going to save that for the fall?
yeah, the committee wasn't ready, and we're going to fund that committee to do some engineering work this summer. And the plan will be to present that bylaw to town meeting in the fall.
Okay. Now, there's also 2 citizens petitions this year. Can you just explain to people how you get a citizens petition on to the town meeting warrant?
Well, there's a special form that you fill out, and you get it at the town clerk's office.
Yep.
And you need either 100 or 10 signatures,
Yep.
depending on the
What it
town
is.
meeting.
Yep, yep.
And they need to be registered voters. And so normally the petitioners usually collect more signatures.
Than they need. Yep. So the 2 petitions we have is, one is an article to fund SSCAC, which is the Social Community Action Council, a certain amount of money. And then the fireworks, the citizens petition to help fund the fireworks for the Pembroke Celebrates.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's completely up to town meeting to
That's
decide.
correct.
One way, yay or nay.
Right.
Okay. All right, so that should be exciting. And we usually get our town meeting, 'cause I am a Pembroke resident too, done in one night. We think so?
Well, at one point, if we had both of those large overlay districts, we said there's no way
Way
we're
you do
doing
it.
it in one night.
Right.
The country club bylaw article is going to generate a lot of discussion.
Yes.
But I think the rest of them should breeze through. So it's a distinct possibility that we'll keep the streak alive and
do it in one night.
Do it in one night.
We're efficient. Okay. And elections in the town of Pembroke are coming up?
Saturday after the town meeting.
Okay. So that would be Saturday, May 17th, 18th? Yeah.
I believe so,
18th,
yeah.
And are there contested seats for Board of Selectmen? There's two
Right.
openings?
There's one opening.
One and 2 people running.
Because Matthew has decided not to run again.
Okay.
And so we have a couple of folks that are running for his vacant seat.
Okay. And there's other contested races also. I think school committee. There's a few other, but all of this information can be found on our town website.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else we should look forward to?
No, I think there's going to be some interesting discussions regarding the future of the country club.
Right. That's our biggie this year for the town of Pembroke.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Ed. We'll have you again afterwards.
My pleasure.
See how it all went.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Information and links to stories can be found at our website, pactv.org. PCN is also on Facebook and Twitter, so be sure to follow us there. We're also on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe to the PCN channel. We'll be back April 25th with more local stories. Have a great week.